Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Today, I would like to discuss a key aspect of Timothy Keller's The Prodigal God that I feel challenges a deeply integrated element in our culture, which is self-righteousness. Keller's interpretation of the parable of the prodigal son highlights not only the rebellion of the younger brother, but the self-righteousness of the older one. The older brother's spirit, which is characterized by a moral entitlement, is at odds with the grace-centered message of the gospel. Keller argues that self-righteousness can be as spiritually toxic as overt sin. In the parable, the elder brother is outwardly obedient but inwardly resentful. His disdain for his father's forgiveness of the prodigal son reveals his belief that his good works should guarantee him favor and control. Keller contends that this mindset blinds us to our need for grace and traps us in a cycle of judgment and pride. Now, let's examine how our culture often reinforces self-righteousness through its media narratives and messages, using my absolute favorite artist, Taylor Swift's music, as a lens. Taylor Swift's music captures the tension between striving for perfection, seeking validation, and the emptiness that comes with both. Songs like Tolerate It reflect the validity of performing for approval. Wait by the door like I'm just a kid. Use my best colors for your portrait. Lay the table with the fancy shit and watch you tolerate it. These lyrics parallel the elder brother's plight in Keller's analysis. Despite his obedience and hard work, he feels unappreciated and unloved because his efforts are not met with recognition he believes that he deserves. Similarly, Taylor's speaker gives her all but is met with indifference, highlighting the emotional exhaustion that comes with trying to earn love or worthiness. In You're on Your Own, Kid, Taylor sings, "I gave my blood, sweat, and tears for this. I hosted parties and starved my body like I'd be saved by a perfect kiss." This lyric echoes the cultural message that worth is achieved through relentless striving, a belief that Keller critiques in the older brother's mindset. The constant effort to prove oneself, whether through outward actions or self-sacrifice, will ultimately lead to isolation and despair. Even in Anti-Hero, Taylor addresses the inner turmoil of self-righteousness and self-critique. Everybody agrees. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. It must be exhausting. This speaks to the elder brother's inability to see his own flaws while focusing on the perceived shortcomings of others. His judgment of his younger brothers mirrors the self-criticism Taylor explores, as both will stem from a misguided sense of superiority and inequality. Another example is Exile, where Swift and Bon Iver duet about a fractured communication and mutual judgment. The lyrics, "You never gave no one inside," highlights how self-righteousness and relationships create barriers. Each person feels justified in their position, much like the older brother who cannot see beyond his own grievances to recognize that the father's grace or his brother's needs for forgiveness. The song's haunting tone reflects the emotional exile that self-righteousness breeds, a separation from others and often ourselves. Yet Keller's principle directly challenges these cultural norms by pointing us towards grace. Grace says that worth is not earned, but freely given, and forgiveness is more transformative than condemnation. This message runs counter to the narratives in Swift's earlier songs, but will align in moments in her work where she embraces freedom and healing. In songs like Daylight, for instance, Taylor sings, "I once believed love would be burning red, but it's golden like daylight." This represents a shift from striving for intense validation to resting in peaceful acceptance. It mirrors the gospel's call to leave behind self-righteousness and embrace the unearned grace and love of God. Another song that mimics this is Clean. Taylor captures the release that comes with letting go of burdens. "Rain came pouring down, when I was drowning, that's when I could finally breathe." This imagery resonates with Keller's invitation to abandon the self-made righteousness and to accept the cleansing power of God's grace. The Prodigal God forces us to confront our cultural addiction to self-righteousness and invites us to lay down our moral superiority and accept the free gift of grace for both ourselves and others. This is a countercultural way of living, one that chooses forgiveness over judgment, humility over pride, and love over resentment. Taylor Swift's music reminds us of the exhaustion and emptiness of striving for approval, but it also can hint at the freedom that comes with letting go. As Keller emphasizes, our worth isn't based on what we do, but what has already been done for us. Let us leave here today, willing to embody our grace in our own lives, refusing to measure others or ourselves by worldly standards of righteousness. The gospel offers us a love deeper than we could earn and a freedom that we can fully rest in. Thank you.